Hi, everyone, and welcome back from spring break. I hope you had a nice week off. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's expected for the rest of the semester. This week, we're going to take a look at Module 10. Next week, we'll take a look at Module 11 and then so on throughout the semester. And then we'll go ahead and skip over Module 13 and Module 15 and 16. But that's outlined not only on the course schedule here, but it's also outlined in your lessons folder. Let's go ahead and take a look at your lessons folder, and you can see that as well. So you can see that we covered everything 1 through 9. And then here we go 10, 11, 12. We do have a student break. So in here we have a student break. That's where 13 would have been, but I feel as though 13 probably wasn't something we needed to cover in this course. And then we skip over 15 and 16. And so obviously this is a 16-week course, and in a 16-week course, you can't cover all the modules when there's 18, 19 modules, right? I mean, I guess we could, but it would be a little bit too much information, I think. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip over 13 and then 15 and 16. And then of course you have your final exam. Let's take a look at, one thing I want to mention about the student break here in April. This is not a college-wide student break. In fact, the college is not closed at all in April. I give this break to my students. I try to give 2 weeks of a break for all of my courses that I teach. So in the fall, I'll give the fall break. That's in October. Typically, that's a week off in the middle of October. And then I also tend to give the week off for Thanksgiving as well. And then I do that again in the spring. I give the spring break in March, halfway through the semester, and then I give one more in April so that you can gear up. Typically, there are a lot of projects that are due in your courses, things like that. And so that week off in April kind of lets you hit that reset button and then work on those final projects and get ready for your final exams as well. Please note that some of your other courses you might not have off in those other courses. And so this is something that I do and not a college-wide break. Please be aware of that. Let's go ahead and take a look at Module 10. So Module 10, we're going to look at positive employee relations. And so just like every other module, you have that study plan, and then you have the assessment that is due. And then we have a discussion board this week. So let's go ahead and take a look at that discussion board. So a lot of organizations implement surveys. And so these surveys can get employee feedback, what's working well, what they can improve upon, etc. And so when a survey measures an organization's employee engagement, it measures two things. It measures retention elements and engagement elements. So we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the difference between retention elements and engagement elements first, and then we'll go ahead and talk about the assignment. So retention elements, what is a retention element? So a retention element is anything external to the employee, things like pay, benefits, time off, the whole compensation package. Now, if you think back to maybe in this class or other classes that you've taken when you've learned about motivation theory, you learned about the two-factor theory. You learned about hygiene factors and motivation factors. And so these hygiene factors are external. Typically, they're extrinsic. They're things that will try to motivate the employee. So we're talking about compensation, for instance, pay. One of the things that Herzberg's two-factor theory, one of the things that he discovered is that these retention factors or these hygiene factors don't necessarily motivate employees to do a better job, but they definitely can help disengage employees when it's not there. Think about your pay, for instance. If you're getting paid what you should be getting paid for the job that you should be getting paid for, you're not necessarily motivated to go above and beyond for your company. However, if your pay is considerably less, you're going to be dissatisfied with your job. And so that's what he found out, is that when you have these external or extrinsic rewards, these retention elements, they don't necessarily help motivate the employee, but when they're taken away, they will absolutely lead to dissatisfaction, right? So engagement elements are a little bit different. These are the things internal. How can you get a employee to feel good about the work that they're doing, to have passion and purpose with what they do? And so these engagement elements are a little bit different. So these engagement elements have actually found to help motivate employees. So obviously you have to assume that the retention elements are there, the pay and the compensation is there. You're happy with your pay, you're happy with the benefits or time off, but how can you get an employee more engaged and love what they do? Well, you can do that by a couple different things. And so this is what this section of the discussion board talks about. So engagement elements are those elements that push an employee um, from being just an active robot showing up to work, doing the job, to one that's active, engaged. They want to go ahead and work with their team. They go above and beyond for the organization. And they can do this, a company can do this by several different means. For instance, they can do this by offering rewards and recognition, accountability, maybe autonomy, ownership in the company, leadership. You can promote, provide more opportunity. There's also the company culture and then the company vision and corporate responsibility. So all of these are ways to engage employees. So what I would like for you to do is pick one of these engagement elements, whether it's rewards, accountability, leadership, culture, company vision, or corporate responsibility. And then I would like for you to go ahead and research a company that also engages these elements as well. And so I can think about a lot of different companies. Let's say you're concerned about the environment, right? And so maybe you want to go ahead and look at a company that gives back to the environment or is about sustained energy. Well, go ahead and do a little bit of research and find out, maybe compare their sustainability with their corporate responsibility, their corporate social responsibility initiatives, or maybe their company vision. So that's how you can align that. Maybe the rewards and recognition program as well. So it's really the sky's the limit on what you can find here. But again, you can think about some of those companies that make you passionate about something, and then research those companies and then find out what engagement element they are using. You will probably have to use the internet for this. Go ahead and cite your source as well. You can just put the website in there. And that's really it. So the instructions are pretty simple. You do a quick write-up and then how they're keeping their employees engaged with the element that you've chosen. And then you're going to go ahead and write at least 100 words. So 100 words is actually pretty small, a small post, probably about, a paragraph, a few sentences, probably closer to 5 sentences, excuse me. And then once you've completed your write-up, please go ahead and respond to 2 classmates of yours making comments. You can say yes, that you agree with that. Absolutely, companies can engage their employees by offering those recognition systems or whatever that you have in place there. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much.